Ever wonder why the rich keep getting richer, even when others struggle to keep up? It's not just luck or income, it's habits. In this episode, we're breaking down 10 daily routines that wealthy people practice, quietly, consistently, to build and protect their wealth. And here's the thing, you don't need millions to start. You just need to start thinking like someone who does. Habit number 1, read daily. But not just any reading, and not to kill time. Wealthy people don't read to escape life. They read to understand it. Reading is not entertainment for them, it's investment. It's mental compounding. It's sharpening the mind every single day. Let's get one thing clear. The richest people in the world are often the most curious. Warren Buffett reads 500 pages a day. Bill Gates reads about 50 books a year. Elon Musk learned how to build rockets by reading. That's not a coincidence. That's a strategy. While most people scroll endlessly through social media, the wealthy choose pages over pixels. Because they know, one idea can change everything. They read for insight. They read for patterns. They read to see what others miss. They understand that every book is a conversation with a brilliant mind, often one they'll never meet in person. Now let's make this practical. What do rich people actually read? They don't binge novels unless it's intentional downtime. They read biographies, to learn from real-life decisions, successes, and failures. Business books, to see how markets shift, how companies grow, how leaders think. Mindset books, because they know that wealth begins in the mind before it appears in the bank account. Finance and investing, because they want their money working smarter, not harder. Philosophy and psychology, because people who understand people always have the edge. But here's the key, they don't read to look smart. They read to get better. They don't memorize quotes. They extract tools. They read actively, underlining, taking notes, asking questions, applying ideas. A 10-minute reading session can give them a solution that saves $10,000. Now here's the part most people miss. It's not just what you read. It's when and how you read. Wealthy people schedule reading time. Some do it in the morning, as a way to warm up their brain. Others do it at night, to wind down and reflect. But either way, it's not random. It's ritual. They treat reading like a meeting with their future self. Because every page they turn gets them closer to the person they're becoming. And here's the best part. You don't need to be rich to start reading like the rich. You just need a book, a quiet moment, and the intention to grow, one idea at a time. So if you want to build wealth, stop chasing hacks and shortcuts. Start by building your thinking. And reading, daily, intentionally, is one of the most powerful ways to do that. Habit number 2. Track your spending and review your finances every single day. It sounds boring. It sounds basic. But it's exactly what most wealthy people do, and what most others avoid. Here's a harsh truth. You can't build wealth if you don't know where your money goes. Money is not just about how much you make. It's about how well you manage what you already have. And that's where daily financial awareness comes in. Rich people don't wing it with money. They don't check their accounts only when something feels off. They don't guess how much they spent this week. They track. They know what's coming in, what's going out, what's being invested, what's being wasted. It's not about being obsessed. It's about being aware. Because money you don't track disappears. Think about this. If you had to carry all your expenses in cash, handing out every dollar physically, you'd pay a lot more attention, right? But swiping cards, automatic payments, monthly subscriptions, it's so easy to lose touch. Wealthy people stay in touch. Some use spreadsheets. Some use apps like In-App, Mint, or Notion templates. Some journal it by hand. The method doesn't matter. What matters is the habit. They also do quick daily check-ins. They review what they spent. They ask, was that aligned with my values? My goals? They look at their investment dashboards, bank balances, business revenue. Not to stress, but to stay in control. And this is key. Wealthy people don't see money tracking as restrictive. They see it as empowering. Because when you know exactly where your money goes, you stop feeling guilty. You stop making blind decisions. You start making strategic ones. Here's another truth. People who feel broke often aren't truly broke. They're just disconnected from their numbers. Once you reconnect with your money, you realize how much leaks through unconscious spending. You discover patterns. You find hidden fees. You spot opportunities to save, invest, and grow. Daily review builds financial intelligence. It gives you the mindset of a steward, not a spender. Because wealth isn't just built by earning more. It's protected by paying attention. Now, if this sounds overwhelming, start small. Here's a simple 5-minute daily ritual. Log your spending for the day. Glance at your balances. Ask, did I spend with purpose today? Note anything that surprised you. Make one decision for tomorrow: save, skip, or redirect. That's it. 5 minutes a day can transform your relationship with money in 5 weeks. It builds discipline. It builds awareness. And ultimately, it builds freedom. Because here's the truth. You can't master what you ignore. And if you want to be rich, not just someday but sustainably, then tracking your money is not optional. It's essential. Habit number 3, set financial goals and revisit them often. Not once a year. Not when you feel motivated. But consistently, intentionally, and unapologetically. You see, most people wish for financial success. But wealthy people plan for it. They don't just say, I want to be rich someday. They define what rich means to them. They write it down. They attach numbers. They give it a timeline. They make it real. Why does this matter? Because when your financial goals are vague, your actions become vague too. And vague action creates vague results. Or worse, no results. Rich people treat wealth building like a mission. They have clear targets and they review them frequently. They know how much they want to earn this year, how much they want to save this quarter, how much they want invested by age 40, 50, or 60, how soon they want to be debt-free, how close they are to financial independence. They don't leave it to luck. They use intentionality as their compass. And here's a secret. Your financial goals don't have to be huge to be powerful. You might start with, save $500 emergency fund this month. Pay off one credit card by June. Invest $50 a week into index funds. Generate $1,000 per month in passive income within 12 months. These may sound small, but they create focus. And focus creates momentum. Wealthy people also revisit their goals, often. Why? Because life changes. Markets change. Priorities change. And goals? They need to evolve too. Think of your financial goals like a GPS. You don't just set it once and ignore the map. You check in, adjust, recalculate, refocus. Some review them weekly. Others monthly. Some visualize them every morning. Some keep them in their journal, dashboard, or phone lock screen. But one thing is constant. They stay connected to the vision. This habit also fuels discipline. When you know exactly why you're saving money, suddenly skipping that impulse purchase feels empowering, not restrictive. When your goal is to own your time, retire early, or send your kids to college, your financial choices shift naturally. And here's the deeper layer. Setting goals isn't just about the money. It's about who you become on the way there. Disciplined, focused, creative, resilient. So here's a quick exercise. Write down one short-term financial goal within 3 months. One midterm goal, 6 to 12 months. One long-term goal, 3 to 5 years. Then write, why does this matter to me? Come back to that page often. Update it. Visualize it. Take one action each day that moves you a little closer. Wealth doesn't come from wishing harder. It comes from aligning your daily decisions with your clear goals. So stop letting your financial future float. Anchor it. Name it. Review it. Because money doesn't move without direction. And you? You're the one holding the compass. Habit number 4. Invest regularly, not just save. Saving money is important. But it's not enough. If saving helps you protect your money, investing helps you grow it. And here's what rich people understand better than anyone. You can't save your way to wealth. Let's break this down. Most people focus on saving. They cut back, stash a bit of money in a bank, and hope for the best. That's a good start. But the problem is, money that just sits loses value over time. Inflation eats away at your purchasing power. That $1,000 you save today might only be worth $900 in a few years, without you doing anything wrong. That's why wealthy people make investing a habit. Not an event. Not once a year. But something they do consistently, even if it's small. They understand the power of compound growth, how money earns money over time. It's not about timing the market. It's about time in the market. Even if they start small, $10, $50, $100 a month. They know that consistent investing builds momentum. Think about this. If you invest $100 a month at an average return of 8%, in 10 years you'll have over $18,000. In 20 years, over $55,000. Not from luck, from habit. And that's just $100 a month. Now imagine doing more. Or starting earlier. Or doing it for a lifetime. That's how the rich get richer. Not because they have more, but because they use what they have wisely. And you don't need to be a financial expert to begin. Today there are more accessible tools than ever. Index funds. Yes. Robo-advisors. Real estate platforms. Dollar cost averaging apps. Dividend stocks. Crypto if done responsibly. Wealthy people don't wait until they know everything to start. They start small, start now and learn as they go. And here's something else. They don't let fear stop them. They know risk is real, but so is regret. They invest for freedom. For time. For options. For legacy. Even if it's just $5 a day, they'd rather invest it than waste it on mindless spending. So here's the habit. Automate your investing. Set a small amount to go out weekly or monthly, before you even see the money. Treat it like a bill you owe to your future self. And don't just save what's left. Instead, invest first, then spend what's left. Because here's the truth. Saving keeps you safe. Investing sets you free. So start small. Stay consistent. Don't just protect your money, activate it. Put it to work even while you sleep. Because the people who build wealth aren't always the ones who earn the most. They're the ones who invest the most consistently. Habit number 5. Network intentionally. Not casually. Not randomly. But intentionally. Wealthy people don't just know a lot of people. They build and nurture strategic, meaningful relationships. Because here's a truth that's rarely taught in school. Your network is your net worth. Money doesn't just flow through ideas. It flows through people. Every opportunity you'll ever have, a job, a deal, a client, a life-changing idea, will likely come through someone. And rich people know this. That's why they don't leave relationships to chance. They invest in them just like they invest money. They make time for it. They show up. They add value first. They reach out, even when they don't need anything. They check in. They listen. They remember names, kids' birthdays, goals, and small details. Because they know, relationships compound too. Let's go deeper. There's a difference between networking and intentional connection. Networking is surface level. Business cards, handshakes, empty small talk. Intentional connection is deeper. It's built on trust, respect, shared vision. Rich people don't try to meet everyone. They focus on surrounding themselves with mentors who challenge them, peers who push them, partners who align with their values, rising talents who inspire them, long-term allies they grow with. They don't collect contacts. They build circles. They don't chase attention. They earn trust. And here's what most people don't realize. You don't have to be famous, successful, or extroverted to build powerful relationships. You just have to be intentional. Start small. Reach out to one person a week you admire. Send thank you notes or messages without an agenda. Offer help, share resources, connect others. Attend events with curiosity, not ego. Follow up, not just once but consistently. And here's the mindset shift. Don't network to get. Network to give. Because when you consistently add value to others, without needing something in return, people remember you. They respect you. They root for you. And opportunities follow naturally. Wealthy people treat networking like planting seeds. Some grow in a week, some in a year. But they plant anyway, because the harvest is inevitable. So ask yourself, who am I surrounding myself with? Am I being intentional in my conversations? Am I reaching out, or waiting to be found? Because relationships are capital. And if you want to build wealth, don't do it alone. Build with people who light you up, who challenge you, who remind you of who you're capable of becoming. That's how rich people grow, not just financially but emotionally, intellectually, and socially. Because behind every great success is a great network. Habit number 6. Schedule time for deep work. Not multitasking. Not reacting. But deep, focused, uninterrupted work that actually moves the needle. Here's something rich and highly productive people understand deeply. If you don't control your time, everything and everyone else will. They know that wealth isn't built in busy work. It's built in focus. And focus doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. Let's talk about deep work. Coined by Cal Newport, deep work means the kind of effort that requires full concentration. No distractions, no context switching, no surface-level tasks. It's the work that demands your brain's full power. Strategic thinking. Creative problem-solving. Big-picture planning. Writing, building, designing, making high-stakes decisions. And this is the work that builds value, personally and financially. But here's the challenge. We live in a world of constant interruption. Emails, messages, notifications, meetings, people knocking on your door, physical or digital, every 5 minutes. Most people never get uninterrupted time. They never enter flow state. They spend their day reacting to other people's priorities, instead of creating their own results. But the wealthy? They protect their focus like treasure. They block time on their calendar for deep work, and they treat it as sacred. No meetings, no phones, no distractions, just pure output. Even 60 to 90 minutes of true focus can create more impact than 8 hours of being busy. It's not about doing more. It's about doing what matters most, with full attention. Let's get practical. Here's how wealthy people protect deep work time. They schedule it, first. Before the day gets filled, they block out their deep work windows. Usually mornings, when the mind is sharpest. They set boundaries. Phone on airplane mode. Do not disturb on. Door closed. Calendar marked focus time. They prepare. Before the session starts, they know exactly what they're working on. No wasting time deciding. They time box. Most use 60 to 120-minute blocks. Some follow the Pomodoro technique, 25-minute focus, 5 minutes break. Find what works for you. They guard it fiercely. No excuses. No interruptions. If someone tries to take that time, the answer is, not right now. This isn't about being rude. It's about respecting your craft. And here's the shift. When you protect time for deep work, you train your brain to focus longer. You build mental endurance. You get better at entering flow, where time disappears and output multiplies. This is how books get written. Businesses get built. Strategies get shaped. Problems get solved. Not through scattered effort, but intentional immersion. So if you've been feeling overwhelmed, distracted, scattered, this is your signal. Start blocking time. 1 hour a day. Even 30 minutes if that's all you can manage at first. Put it on your calendar. Label it deep work. Honor it like a meeting with your future self. Because it is. Because in that quiet, focused block of time, that's where breakthroughs live. And the people who build real wealth? They go there daily. Habit number 7. Avoid emotional decisions, especially when it comes to money. Let's be honest. Money is emotional. It's tied to fear, to safety, to identity, to self-worth, to how we grew up, to how we compare ourselves to others. That's why most people don't lose money because of math. They lose it because of emotion. And wealthy people? They know this. That's why they train themselves to pause, think, and act with intention, instead of reacting in the heat of the moment. Because here's the truth. Emotional decisions destroy financial progress. Think about it. You panic when the stock market drops and sell low. You feel bored and buy something expensive you don't need. You feel pressured and lend money you can't afford to lose. You feel guilty and overspend to impress others. You feel anxious and avoid looking at your finances entirely. Sound familiar? These moments seem small, but over time they compound. Not in your favor. Wealthy people avoid this trap by developing emotional discipline. They don't ignore emotions, but they don't act on them either. They put systems in place so that emotion doesn't dictate their behavior. Let's break this down. So how do rich people avoid emotional money decisions? They pause before reacting. They never make big financial moves when they're angry, scared, or overly excited. They give themselves space to breathe, think, reflect. They follow rules, not feelings. They have investment rules, spending limits, decision-making frameworks. So even when emotions rise, the plan stays the same. They use automation. They automate savings, investments, bill payments. That way, decisions happen before emotion has a chance to interfere. They reflect on past mistakes. They learn from emotional decisions they've made before, and adjust. Every loss becomes a lesson. They seek advice. They talk to mentors, advisors, or trusted peers before making big moves. Emotion isolates. Wisdom seeks perspective. They zoom out. They ask, how will this feel 10 days, 10 months, or 10 years from now? That question alone can stop a bad decision in its tracks. Let's get practical. The next time you feel the urge to make a big decision with money, pause and ask, is this based on logic or emotion? Am I trying to relieve stress or make progress? If I made this choice every week, where would I end up? Train yourself to respond, not react. And if you're in a high emotion state, walk away. Sleep on it. Write it down. Talk it out. Then come back with clarity. Because emotion isn't the enemy, impulsive action is. And here's the deeper truth. Wealth isn't built through perfect choices. It's built through calm, consistent, rational ones. So the next time you're tempted to act out of fear, ego, or pressure, remember, pause now or pay later. Discipline may feel hard in the moment, but regret feels harder in the long run. The rich stay rich because they choose wisely, not quickly. So take a breath, step back, and protect your future, from your momentary emotions. Habit number 8. Create before consuming. This might be one of the simplest shifts, but also one of the most powerful. In a world where we're constantly consuming social media, news, messages, podcasts, videos, it's easy to forget something important. We are not here just to take in information. We are here to create something with it. Wealthy people understand this. They don't start their day scrolling. They start by producing, writing, thinking, planning, building, creating value. Because they know, if the first thing you do in the morning is consume, you're training your brain to react, not to lead. You're letting someone else's voice speak louder than your own. You're entering the day in response mode, not creative mode. Let's put it this way. Imagine your mind as a white canvas at the start of each day. You can choose to paint on it, or let other people scribble on it first. Wealthy people choose to paint. They create first, even if just for 10, 20, or 30 minutes. They write in their journal. They plan their day with intention. They draft a business idea. They work on a new project. They record thoughts, create content, shape strategy. It doesn't have to be creative work in the traditional sense, like writing or designing. Creation can be any form of proactive expression. Anything where you are the source, not just the recipient. Now let's talk about why this matters financially. Wealth is created by value output. When you create, you build assets, ideas, content, systems, products, influence. But when you spend your peak brainpower consuming, you delay that creation. You spend your energy reacting to what others are doing, instead of moving your own vision forward. And over time this adds up. Wealthy people treat their attention like currency. They don't waste it on comparison, distraction, or noise, especially in the first hours of the day. So how do you build this habit? Start with a simple rule. No consumption before creation. That means, no scrolling until you've journaled, planned, or written something. No inbox until you've made progress on your own priorities. No podcasts or videos until you've moved your work forward. Could be writing 200 words, sketching an idea, solving one key problem, recording one voice note, reviewing your goals, brainstorming in silence. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just has to come from you. Over time, your mind becomes sharper in the mornings. You begin the day with momentum. You generate more ideas. You feel more in control and less scattered. You start to lead instead of follow. Because here's the deeper truth. Every time you create, you build. Every time you only consume, you delay. So if you want to live a life that's designed, not default. If you want to move from consumer to producer. If you want to build wealth, impact, and legacy. Start your day by putting something out. Before you take anything in. Create before consuming. Every morning. Every time. It's a small act, but it sends a powerful message to your mind. I lead. I build. I go first. And in the long run, that mindset builds everything else. Habit number 9. Reflect on your progress every single day. Because if you never stop to look back, you'll keep moving without ever knowing if you're going in the right direction. We live in a world obsessed with what's next. What's the next goal? The next project? The next milestone? But highly successful and wealthy people understand something deeper. Growth doesn't come just from action. It comes from reflection. Because what you don't measure, you can't manage. And what you don't acknowledge, you'll eventually repeat, sometimes blindly. Daily reflection turns your day from a blur into a lesson. It transforms your actions into insight. Let's break this down. Wealthy people take a few minutes every day, usually at night, to ask themselves, what went well today? What did I learn? What challenged me? Where did I waste energy or money? What's one thing I'd do differently tomorrow? These questions don't take hours. Just 5 to 10 minutes of honest reflection. But the impact? Massive. Why? Because reflection builds self-awareness. And self-awareness is the foundation of wise decisions. Financially, professionally, personally. Let me ask you. Do you know where your time went yesterday? Do you know what your biggest win was today? Do you know what habit tripped you up last week? Again? If not, you're probably moving fast. But without full clarity. Wealthy people don't make that mistake. They slow down, not to lose momentum but to protect it. Think of it like this. Athletes watch game tape. Investors review portfolios. Entrepreneurs debrief after launches. Writers reread drafts. Why? Because looking back makes you better moving forward. And here's something powerful. Reflection also builds gratitude. When you take time to notice your wins, even the small ones, you start seeing yourself differently. You recognize progress. You build internal momentum. You stop being so hard on yourself. You realize you're growing, even if it's not always visible. And this fuels consistency, because we stick to what we see is working. Here's a simple reflection habit. Every evening, ask yourself 3 questions. What's one thing I did well today? Big or small, give yourself credit. What could I have done better? Without judgment, just insight. What's one intention I'm setting for tomorrow? A simple focus that keeps you aligned. Write it down. Say it out loud. Or think through it while brushing your teeth. The key is be consistent. Over time, you'll start to see patterns. You'll adjust faster. You'll waste less time repeating the same mistakes. And more importantly, you'll stop chasing progress and start tracking it. Because success isn't built on speed. It's built on awareness, adjustment, alignment, and reflection. That's where all 3 begin. So pause, look back, and ask, what did today teach me? Do it often enough, and you'll be amazed at how far you go. Habit number 10, wake up with purpose. Not just to get through the day, not just to survive your schedule, but to live on purpose, from the moment your feet touch the ground. Because here's the truth. The rich don't wake up to react. They wake up to lead. They don't roll out of bed wondering what the day might bring. They decide what the day will mean. They wake up with intention. Not with dread. Not with autopilot. Not with the same old loop of just getting by. And this mindset shift, waking up on purpose, changes everything. Why? Because your first thought in the morning sets the tone for everything that follows. Most people wake up already behind. They hit snooze. They scroll their phone. They feel overwhelmed before the day even begins. But wealthy people flip that script. They wake up with clarity, with structure, with why. Whether it's a big goal, a commitment to health, a mission they believe in, or simply becoming a better version of themselves, they give their mornings meaning. And that meaning gives their life momentum. Let's break it down. What does waking up with purpose actually look like? They start with a morning intention. Before doing anything else, they take a breath and choose their mindset. Today I show up with clarity. Today I move with energy. Today I build something meaningful. They reconnect with their why. This could be reading their goals, visualizing the life they're building, reminding themselves who they're doing it for. They stick to a morning structure. Not just out of discipline, but to protect their focus. Because the first 60 minutes of the day often decide the next 16 hours. They avoid randomness. They don't let other people's agendas shape their first thoughts. They lead themselves before leading others. Because let's be real. A purposeless morning leads to a distracted day. And a distracted day leads to a delayed life. But when you start with purpose, you make better decisions. You use your time differently. You show up with power, not passiveness. Here's something simple you can do. Before bed, write down one reason you want to wake up tomorrow. It doesn't have to be life-changing. Just meaningful. To become 1% better. To keep the promise I made to myself. To take control of my health. To be fully present for the people I love. To make progress, even if it's small. Then when the alarm rings, read that reason. Let that purpose pull you forward. Because motivation fades. But meaning lasts. Wealthy people aren't driven by hacks and hustle. They're driven by clarity. They know who they are. They know what they're working toward. And that's why they don't waste mornings. And here's the powerful part. You don't need money to wake up with purpose. You just need a decision. To stop floating. To stop waiting for motivation. To stop drifting through days like they don't matter. Because they do matter. You matter. And every morning is a chance to remember that. To reconnect, recommit, and restart. So tomorrow morning, don't just wake up to exist. Wake up to lead. Wake up to build. Wake up with purpose. So let's recap. Here are the 10 daily habits that help rich people stay rich. 1. Read daily. They read to learn, not to kill time. 2. Track spending and review finances. They know where every dollar goes. 3. Set financial goals and revisit them. They don't let their goals drift. 4. Invest regularly, even small amounts done consistently. 5. Network intentionally. They build strong, purposeful relationships. 6. Schedule time for deep work. No distractions, just focused progress. 7. Avoid emotional decisions, especially with money. 8. Create before consuming. They lead with output, not input. 9. Reflect on progress. Every day is a lesson. 10. Wake up with purpose. They don't drift through life. They design it. Each habit might seem simple on its own, But stacked together they shape a mindset, a system, a lifestyle. And you don't need to be rich to start living this way. You just need to act like someone who's becoming rich, in wisdom, focus, and intention. If this episode gave you clarity or a push forward, hit that follow, leave a review, and share it with someone who's ready to level up. And remember, you don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your habits. So choose them wisely. Start small. Stay consistent. And I'll see you in the next one. Until then, wake up with purpose and build the life you were meant to lead.